this Wendy Williams situation is really stressing me out. And one of the reasons why is because the media is not doing a good job at educating the public on conservatorships or guardianships, depending on which state you're in, and the purpose of them. So the whole conversation has been around Wendy being diagnosed with a form of dementia. Okay. Now, anybody who has had a loved one who has suffered from dementia understands that there are levels to it. And just the diagnosis alone doesn't necessarily mean that the person that's been diagnosed immediately loses the ability to make decisions for themselves, right? And then, even if a person is deemed disabled, being disabled does not mean that you need a conservator. Being disabled doesn't mean that you have to have someone to stand in your shoes. Being disabled, in fact, really means that you're just unable to do 100% perhaps of what others might be able to do, right? That doesn't mean that it affects your mind all the time. It doesn't mean that you need help managing your money. So here's the other part that bothers me about the Wendy Williams situation is that what we see is that it looks like she's like locked up in this facility, right? Well, most people that are in facilities are placed there because they are unable to live at home alone or unable to live at home with help. I am struggling to understand why someone who appears to have had sufficient money can't pay for help in her own home. Why she must be behind locked doors in a facility. Now, granted, we don't know everything. Obviously, the public only knows what media wants us to know, right? But it is important to understand a conservatorship and what it is designed to do. In order for a conservatorship to be established, not only must the person be disabled, but that disability must lead to the conclusion that a court needs to be involved, that there needs to be intervention. All right? Doesn't just mean that, oh, you're disabled, so now you need a conservator. No, you have to be disabled to the point where, number one, you have not done an estate plan and already appointed your power of attorney. And then number two, because of the disability, you need the assistance of the court. And I'm struggling to see where in the public this has been shown related to the Wendy Williams guardianship. Now, maybe it has been, maybe I just don't see it. I don't know, but I am struggling so much with the evidence that's been introduced against her. Now, that said, HIPAA's going to prevent a lot of this information to come out, right? It's not going to all be told to us. But if those of you are living with loved ones who are disabled, understand that the disability alone, or if you're the person that's disabled, just being disabled does not mean that you need to be under a conservatorship. But if your disability affects your ability to take care of yourself, then yes, you will need a conservator if you don't already have a healthcare and a financial power of attorney in place. Furthermore, if you have significant assets and you don't have a trust set up where a trustee can step in and continue to manage your money, court intervention might be necessary. In the particular case with Wendy Williams, I don't understand why a third party has been appointed, because in most states, even when you get into court and you are discussing with a court a request for a conservator to be appointed, the family members have the ability to be the first to be appointed over a third party. So now we have a situation where there is a third party involved managing her money and determining where she lives. And I have an extreme problem with that. If you want to prevent yourself or your family from going through this situation, then understand that an estate plan is necessary. If there was an estate plan in place, if somebody had already been appointed to manage her money, then in the event that Wendy was deemed disabled and unable to make her own decisions, the person that she chose could have stepped in and continued to manage her money. So do yourself a favor, get an estate plan done, or you or your family can end up just like Wendy. Her being a celebrity has nothing to do with this situation. This is simply the law.